Look, first off the bat, the Greens won't be supporting the Liberal Party's amendment, which I submit to you is designed to rob the motion of its veracity, and it's in keeping with the Liberal Party's revisionist view of South Australian history. This idea that they cannot take any responsibility for the original sin that has bedevilled our electricity network here in this state, and that is, of course, the disastrous decision of the Olsen government to sell off ETSA to dud South Australians to negotiate a totally dud deal for our state, one that has resulted in higher electricity prices and an insecure electricity network. There is something seriously wrong, Mr President, in our state when we have an electricity network that cannot weather a storm. It is unacceptable that we had thousands and thousands of South Australians being denied power for days and days on end following the storm that occurred the other week. Now, on the one hand, some will say, well, acts of God happen, we're going to see freak weather events, and that's part of life. And certainly, as the climate continues to change, we are going to see more freak weather events. But that's why it's so vitally important that we have an energy system that is fit for purpose. And the private sector has not been delivering on the energy needs for South Australia because there has not been the appropriate investment in resources, in the workforce over time, so that we can be prepared for these sorts of events. And the Greens certainly stand with the union movement in their critique of the approach that's been taken to electricity in our state. I must say I am a little perplexed by the position that is being taken by the Labor government, because on the one hand they purport to support many of the elements of this motion, yet they don't intend to vote for it. Well, Mr President, with all due respect to the Honourable Russell Wortley, who made a contribution on behalf of the Labor Party, it's not what people say in this chamber, it's what they do with their feet. It's how they vote that is the important test. And if the Labor Party is really serious about looking into bringing back ETSA, if the Labor Party is really fulsome in its condemnation of the appalling record of the Olsen government, then they will support my motion. The proposition is very simple. And I just flag with honourable members that I do intend to test that proposition by calling a division on this matter. In summing up, I do also want to read into Hansard an excerpt of a public letter that has been sent from Dale Beasley, the Secretary of SA Unions, to the Honourable Peter Malinauskas MP, and it's a letter that has been published publicly. He says in this letter, privatisation of the South Australian electricity system by the Olsen Liberal government has been a boon for foreign-owned corporations, but has been a disaster for the South Australian electricity user. Clearly, it is not in the best interests of South Australians that the natural monopoly of public electricity supply is run by private corporations to create huge profits. This model has seen underinvestment in maintenance and replacement of electricity distribution infrastructure, and a failure to build the renewable energy generation and grid-scale energy storage that we require to maintain security of supply and price stability. Well, we in the Greens agree, Mr President. The letter goes on to say, SA Unions respectfully suggests that your government consider establishing a public trust. ETSA could be a good name to plan, build and operate electricity generation and a storage asset for the benefits of all South Australians. We agree with those sentiments, Mr President. Now, many will say that, this can't be done. We can't bring back ETSA. We can't unscramble the egg. Well, to those, Mr President, that make that claim, I urge them to consider the remarkable success of the Andrews Labor government in Victoria last weekend. A remarkable achievement, given the appalling fear and smear campaign that was run by some in the right-wing media and the appalling misinformation campaign spread by the Liberal Party in that state. But one of the really exciting elements of the platform of the Labor Party over in Victoria is their commitment to revive the State Electricity Commission, with a majority share owned by the state. So they're wanting to bring back public ownership of their electricity. Why can't we do it here in South Australia? Now, when the Labor Party came to government here in this state, they promised a commission of inquiry into bringing back public ownership of the trains and trams. And the Transport Minister has announced more recently that that's not necessary because the government's going to progress with it, and we welcome that. But why not take the same approach when it comes to electricity? If it's good enough for our public transport network, why not do it for our electricity network? And that's why the Greens are testing that proposition with this motion today.